Hello, I'm Amanda Day, and welcome to the 2019 Twin Cities Film Fest. We are here with some very important filmmakers for our closing night film, which is called Premature. We're here with Zora Howard and Rashaad Ernesto Green. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I know we were really excited to have this film as our closing night film, so thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I know this film really delves into love and loss and grief and even what is the idea of relationships in this modern world. Does the word forever mean anything anymore? Can you tell us a little bit about, so they both co-wrote the film. Can you talk about the process of deciding this is what we want to, this is the story that we want to tell?
I'll let Rashaad speak to that because I like him.
Sure. I mean, you know, when we got into the room, we figured out what we wanted to write about. We asked ourselves, like, what was missing in present-day black cinema, for example. And we felt like there were a lot of films that dealt with black pain and black death, and we wanted to add a verse to black life and black love. And so, you know, we were able to cull from our life experiences, obviously having relationships, been in love and out of love, and we felt like we could really bring some authenticity to the screen.
And I think when you're talking about love, the only way to fully explore it is to delve into those complexities. And some of it is filled with such tremendous joy that it's intoxicating. And that's what happens when you first fall in love. So can you talk a little bit about exploring that from a cinematic perspective, especially as an actor? I know that the character development in this film is something that really makes it stand out in a world where there's a lot of stories about relationships, the character development and the complexity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it was very important for us when we decided it was going to be a love story. Then the second decision was that it was going to be told from Ayana's point of view. So from this young black woman, she's 17 years old, she's looking forward to college, she's kind of on this edge where she's feeling a lot of things and a lot of things are about to happen in her life. So from a performer standpoint, it was important to think specifically about what it feels like to be 17, what my own experience was being 17, and how that spectrum of, you know, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, you can feel that within a 2-day span, because everything is such high intensity and high octave. So, and then I had a great director guiding me through that, and I also had an amazing cast to work with as well. So it was all kind of really present right there in the room to play off each other and get the job done.
So I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, and a lot of the times what we talk about is at that age you don't realize that the feeling you're having is going to go away. The grief will process. Even love, there's that phrase, this too shall pass. So holding on to things and then knowing that you can let them go at times. Can you talk about, especially from a directorial perspective, finding the rhythm within the story of those both joys and sorrows?
Yeah, I mean, I think if the takeaway, you know, without giving away the film so much, is that love, in the end of the day, is worth it. Because we can grow from that experience, then we've done our job. And as far as the rhythm of the film, you know, we're within Ayana's perspective, like Zora was saying. So when we meet Ayana, we're in her world. It's Harlem, New York. It's the middle of the summer. We're with her friends. There's a frenetic energy. And when she meets Isaiah, he's from another part. He's not from Harlem. He is from the South. He's got a slower energy about him. He's an intellectual. And so we really get to sit within their first date and hear, you know, what he talks about and basically see what she falls in love with. We're able to go on that ride with them and slow it down, so to speak. And so when we're with them, we see them in a lot of two shots. We hear their conversation, and then she's back in the world, and it's frenetic, and you know, and her life is moving at the pace that it's moving. So hopefully you can go on this ride with her, and you're seated within that roller coaster with her.
How exciting. I mean, roller coasters. There's ups and downs, right? And I just wanted to know, when you decided this was the snapshot, because it really is, it's one summer, right? What were the things you said, you guys decided as writers, these are imperative points that must be addressed about the relationship, about your development as this person? What were these points that you were like, okay, we gotta cut stuff out. These must stay.
I think showcasing certain relationships were extremely important. The relationship that Ayanna has with her group of girlfriends, and how that's tested and how that's tried, and that, especially when a gentleman comes into the picture, how that can be tested and tried. And then also the relationship that Ayanna has with her mother. Really taking some time to show how complex and how dynamic that can be, especially when a young woman is coming into her own and is kind of challenging what she's learned about womanhood from her mother. And then also the relationship that Ayanna has with herself. So I think, yes, it's a love story, and we see a lot of Isaiah and Ayanna, but we also see Ayanna with herself a lot as well. And I think that was extremely important in the storytelling and writing for us.
I think so often women contextualize who they are based on their relationships with men. And so often in film, we see this. I mean, it's so often done. I just saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And yes, there's masterpiece things about it. It felt a little masturbatorial to me. And it was like a very white, nostalgic perspective. And every single female character, her importance was in connection to another man. And I was like, wow, we're still doing that. Okay. So from a man's perspective, can you talk a little bit about the collaborative experience of saying, I want to make sure a different voice is heard? Can you talk about that?
Sure. I mean, like Zora's saying, we wanted to present a love story, but it was very important that it was her point of view that we're seated within. And that this relationship, she grows from it, and it was important for us to give her agency, so that talking about the end of the film, and I don't want to give it away for folks who haven't seen it, but whether they are going to be together or not, that was a discussion, how to end it, and the ups and downs, and what we want to leave the audience with. And like I said, I don't want to give it away, but it's important that we understand how she has grown, and how she has gotten there, not with his aid necessarily, and but through her, through her own self-realization and her growth towards the end of the film. I think is
the work that she has to do, which when you're, you first fall in love and you got that person on your side and you think it's you and him or you and her forever and ever, and then, more times than not, you get that hit where you realize that the only person that's going to be you and you with is you. And I think we see Ayanna, have that realization, which is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking every time it happens in your life. And then really work with the help of friends and with the help of family, but really calling on something I don't think she knew she had at the beginning of the film. She's the one that has to work through it.
So Zora, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your process in sometimes with characters, man, you got to hold on with both hands because it's such a wild ride, like you're saying. Can you talk about a little bit about your process? What were a few things that you did to really get her?
Well, I feel like I had a leg up with this role because I was involved with the writing process. I really knew Ayanna going into playing Ayanna. And then also, Rashaad and I have a shorthand. I've known him for over 15 years. So we had that foundation as well going into the production process. And I felt because we had that relationship, I could really lean on my director to say, hey, this is what I need. And sometimes I needed to be left alone on set, and I needed no one to come speak to me, and I needed to just be able to listen to whatever I was feeling, whatever I need to listen to in my earbuds. But what made Ayanna, I won't say easy, but what made it easier to find her was, again, the team that was there, that was present. I mean, we had an incredible, Laura Valadao was our DP, and she was literally right there with me for a lot of those scenes, and she was incredible. And the entire crew and the entire creative team, and again, my co-stars really held me up and made space for the work that I need to do.
Well, and where did you shoot it in? Harlem, pretty much. What like an incredible creative place. I mean, so much powerful art has come out of there. Did you feel like that was another character in the film?
Absolutely. I mean, so Zora and I met in Harlem, and we've lived on the same physical block for the last 15 years.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
The character of Isaiah, his apartment is at my actual apartment.
Okay.
His records are my records. You know, we wrote that script in my room. So we know Harlem very well.
Yeah.
You know, Zora was born and raised in Harlem. I've been there for the last 20 years. And so we really wanted to bring a side of New York that people aren't used to seeing. You know, we know Brooklyn, you know, we've gotten glimpses of the Bronx, and obviously we know Manhattan, but we don't necessarily know North Manhattan. We don't know Harlem so well, at least not this section, you know, with the brownstones and the rivers and the, you know, and the trees. You know, we don't necessarily know love in Harlem, you know, and we wanted to bring that side of it to screen.
I love that. That's beautiful. I spent some time there, and it was just totally inspiring. Every moment there felt like something exciting was going to happen. What's next for you guys? What next projects are you going to be doing?
I have a play that's coming up. I also write plays, so I have a play that's going to be premiering off Broadway in New York, and just keep on writing. That's the thing. That's what's going on. It's just to keep on writing, keep on getting stories out there.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting ready for the release of Premature. It was picked up by IFC Films. It will hopefully be in theaters this coming February 2020. I also will be working on a biopic about Nat King Cole.
That's amazing. Oh my God. Okay, so small stuff. Got it. Well, hopefully you'll be back here. I know the director of our film festival was incredibly excited about your guys' film, and I think it's just so important to tell stories that feel visceral and feel authentic, because nothing feels authentic these days. Even, you know, reality shows, there's no such thing as that. Nothing's real. If everything feels so inauthentic, that to have a story that feels powerful, but that also feels like you could know these people, is really, really exciting. So thank you for telling your story. We're super grateful to have you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this is our closing film of the 2019 Twin Cities Film Fest. We will see you guys next year.